Hey David, how's it going? Okay, so you keep asking me, won't you be my nigger? And you said, aren't you the same color as me? Well, yes, David, I am Caucasian, I am white, I guess. I'm Scottish, I'm Irish, black Irish. I'm a third French. I don't even know if that counts as white, because it depends on who you ask, I guess, but technically that's a minority. That's a ethnicity that is not considered the majority part of the population. So I don't know if technically, what the hell? Oh, some band. Sorry. Really, I could be considered white at all. But with the blue eyes and the light skin, I'm pretty much white. In any case, we were talking about race and stuff. Or I was going to get on to this point about race. Well, you hit on a key point. Like you said, aren't you the same color as me? Well, physically, yes. I guess we're both considered what would be white or Caucasian. Although we probably have different ethnicities, because white has many ethnicities in it. No one can really define what's white. Neither the race equalist or the race realist. Shit. Yeah, I got a cluttered kitchen. But anyway. Well, there's a little comedy for you. But, see, that's why I can't embrace Niggerity. Because, to me, it's like saying something that, in my youth growing up in a mostly Hispanic area, I just couldn't quite grasp, because it was like, although it wasn't said in so many words, there was like an aspect of it that I would call the magic Anglo. That was a term some Hispanic used. You know, some older ones at least. You know, they would go, oh, look, it's an Anglo. The younger ones just said white, but there were some older ones who actually had that holdover term that I guess was used in the Hispanic community, like in the 60s and 50s, 40s, 50s, and 60s. So, the question is, am I white in that sense? Well, I don't know if I'm as white as you, David. Because, while you seem to have more of an affinity for African Americans, and you can walk right up to a black person without self-consciousness and say, will you be my nigger? See, I've known black people too, and associate with them, no problem there. But I could never have the self-confidence within myself to go up and say something like that. I could never spread Niggerity because I really don't feel it. If you can understand that meaning, and people would know that. But now, I could walk into an Hispanic store or up to other people, and because I do have that confidence, that sort of sense of non-alienation, I guess you could say, I can be confident. Sometimes it's funny when I walk into a mostly Hispanic area and I get strange looks because I'm just pedaling along like the happy little white man I am. Well, the happy little big white man I am. But see, let me hit back to that subject of magic Anglo. I've noticed in your interviews, you go to people who are mostly white, or sometimes mixed groups of ethnicity, but it's kind of middle, upper class. Oh, I've seen you talk to a few Inuit now that you're in Bethel and everything. But generally, I guess you learned from when you got attacked that it's a safe bet. You know, you managed to pick up a radar, I suppose, where you know you can approach somebody and it won't be that charged or dangerous. And you managed to do your interviews in a way where you word it in a certain way where you learn to put out feelers. I can tell by the way you've done your interviews. But to me, this speaks of a magic Anglo. Because you're picking a target that you know, even if people aren't going to be totally upset by you, you're still kind of covered in the veneer of social convention and politeness to one another that sometimes falls away. Because what I mean by magic Anglo is that why do certain white people, not yourself for example, but some whites, when they try to integrate into another society or ethnicity or culture or subculture or whatever, how you want to look at that, they think that they're going to go in and be friends with everybody. Well, why do they think they're going to be friends with everybody when people of that same race or ethnicity or subculture, or however you want to say it politically correct, are having huge social disconnects with each other? Black violence on black violence, Hispanic violence, social unrest within community. You know, and yet the magic white man comes up and says, "Hi everybody, will you be my homie? Will you be my nigga? Hi." You know, I've been in some rough crowds, and some of them Hispanic because of my neighborhood, and some of them just because I was goofing off in life, you know, younger, doing things that among a counterculture would be groovy, you know. But in my area, it wasn't groovy, it was down. So I can't claim to be anything like down or with it or all that. But I got a lot of shit about being white. And yet, in white culture, sometimes it's very odd. But sometimes I honestly feel a little out of sorts in a white-dominated area. It's not that I feel more comfortable in, let's say, black or Hispanic or anything. It's just in an area that's really white-dominated and hasn't had much multi-ethnic diversity in it. Some of the attitudes run a little rank. Or just not even rank, but kind of elitist. And, you know, I've seen it, and it's like, somehow, I don't know how to deal with that, so to speak. More than I do, like, an Hispanic area. Let me give you an example. I walked into a bar that I worked at. Well, actually, I worked as a maintenance engineer, doing odd jobs, cleaning up the guys' lots and other things. I was younger at the time. And there was these two drunk people at the bar. A Hispanic couple, you know, Mexican couple. But, you know, they're drunk and I'm just ignoring them and stuff. You know, and it's like, all of a sudden, even though I've lived in, like, my area all this time, she goes, well, I'm just going to make up a fictional name, but she goes, uh, let's say I'm in Old Town, okay? Even though I'm in California, I'm just making up names of my various area of my city. And and she's kind of drunk, and her friend was kind of, her boyfriend, partner, pal, whoever was with her, her fellow barfly, was kind of drunk with her at 3 o'clock in the afternoon, right? The only one in the bar. And she goes, hey, white boy. She goes, where do you think you are? Renfield? And the Renfield's like out in the north, where all the friggin' rich white people are. See, because like there's rich white people out in Renfield, and then there's people like out in like Elk Park, which is like way south. And then right where I am is like mostly Hispanic and a few adjacent areas, some black areas. Although they moved out kind of to the north area too. See, there's a little geography of various socioeconomic warrens and areas where people know that this area is kind of trashy and this area is kind of rich and this area is kind of this ethnicity and this is that. You know, there's even a little Chinatown around. So the point is that when she said this, I turned around, I was like, what? Really? Renfield? You joking me, right? And he knew exactly that I had lived there my whole life. I was BSing with him for a little bit. But I was like, hey, excuse me, I'm busy. I was trying to talk to them. But how you doing? And it's like, I knew that because I knew how to talk to them. And it was cool. And that was alright. But if it had been like a black couple, maybe I wouldn't have known what to say. And Asians, I had no clue. I don't know. Just to be honest, I mean, sure, I can walk up to anybody and talk to them. I don't care who they are. That's not a problem. But I mean, really understanding the cultural subsets and social dynamics of a subset of individuals in a subcultural setting is kind of like, you have to know it, show it. And so I could do that with Hispanics because I've had some experience with that. And I guess to a certain degree black, but not really anything I'm comfortable with. So this goes against everything I've learned. Because you seem like, and this wasn't meant to be a video to keep attacking you, but you keep asking me, why won't you share Niggerity with me? Why won't you be my nigger? Well, because, man, I'm not feeling it. And it's not that I'm not feeling Niggerity. Well, I'm not, because I have different views, political, but it's not that, and it's not against you. And it is a little bit that I don't share your view about it. I do object to some things about it. But I just want you to know that mostly, if you really want to get down to it, it's what friggin' I learned with a lot of hard lessons that you don't do. You see? I kind of had people show me how not to be a magic Anglo. And to me, you're still being a magic Anglo. And that's the problem. That's personally, deep down, really, that's why I can never go around and saying, hey, I met this guy named David, and he's a Niggeritarian now, and I share his view about name freedom, and I wonder if you should share Niggerity with me too. Because I'm proud to be a nigger, and I think you should be proud to be a nigger. And don't quote mind me, motherfucker. And it's like, and to me that's alien because it goes against what I was shown is to be freaking white progressive racist. It's not just racist because the N-word. It's racist because of its presumption of the magic Anglo. And that's what I see every time I see your review, and I'm sorry for making another attack video, but you keep asking me why I can't do this and why I can't do that, and I'm not attacking you, I'm explaining it to you. What I was shown was that that's racist. Even though you're trying to make it human and trying to do all that, you're being a magic Anglo. Whether you realize it or not. You're taking a position of social egalitarianism from a stance, whether you realize it or not, of white privilege. And I don't really believe in all that bullshit. But I had a lot of people who did. And I'm still very aware of it. And frankly, that's the reason why I can't wrap my head around it. Because it's something that was ingrained in me at a young age, as I had difficulty integrating with people of various ethnicities that were not my own in my area. Because I'm not some Brenshaw kid. Do you understand? So no, I don't know if I'm white enough to be your nigger. Because that seems what it's like it has to be part of egalitarianism, is you have to have that white privilege. And I don't have that sense of white privilege you do. Because I've seen you in that video with your freaking suit and tie and glasses. When you went to freaking court, you could have been a freaking... Everything in this world is like a costume. Like, it's image related. Although you have to have the goods to go with the package. And frankly, without your tattoos and everything, you probably, with your learning and your intelligence, if you didn't have your disabilities you have now, physical, and, which is pretty much, very serious, the last part of it, the game, I guess you could say, excuse me, that you could have actually fit into a cultural stereotype or ideological type or socioeconomic pigeonhole, because it is about looks a little bit, just a little bit, about image in any case, where you could have been an accountant or a minor paralegal or something other in the business world, because some of that is image related, and it's like, maybe if I lost a lot of weight and got some glasses and got an education and learned to talk very clearly and slowly and coolly, then get this damn twine out of my voice. I don't know where that came from. But if I had all that, maybe I would have been able to achieve something that seems like you could have. And just chose this road instead. So no, I can't accept your... I hate to say it because I hate these terms and I completely disagree with them because I think they're part of the nanny state. And in some sense, social Marxism, cultural Marxism. But yeah, I think Niggerity is part of white privilege because in some sense, you really are being a magic Anglo. And I don't think that's right. And even if it is right, and that's just my wrong view of it, everything that has been ingrained upon me would be from 17 to 18 on for like 20... Yeah. Let's do the math. How old are you, Tim? How much? Okay. About 25 years. Yeah, you see how sharp I am. is frigging, you know, you just can't shuck that off with friggin' just a few little frigging, oh yeah, sure, it's the internet, I'm gonna go out and do that. I can't do it. I can't do it. I just can't do it, David. So, I'm sorry, but that's why. Okay, I hope that made any sense to you. This video is probably gonna be frigging way too frigging long and too much frigging bandwidth to frigging upload easily. Cause I'll be honest, I just count the bytes. I don't even frigging, worry about the links anymore. I made lunch for myself. The hell with this. I hope you understand. But maybe it gave you something to think about and make videos about, okay? Alright. Have a good one, man.